Welcome to New Pioneer Presents. My name is Theresa Carbrey, Education Director at New Pioneer Co-op, and today I have Chef Kurt Michael Fries with me.
Hi.
We're going to explore the spicy world of Thai cooking. We've got a lot of good food set up here. Kurt, show us what you have that's characteristically Thai of your ingredients.
Most characteristically, I have lemongrass. This is, it's exactly what it sounds like it is. It's a grass, and it has a very citrusy flavor. It's used a lot like bay leaves in that it's put into the soup, but it's not eaten. A lot of ingredients in the soup we're going to make today will go in there, and they're not the type of thing that you would normally consume. In the States, we usually take those kinds of things out of the soup, like a bay leaf. In Thailand, they leave them in and simply eat around them.
Okay, and this, of course, is familiar, our ginger.
Everybody knows ginger. We're using ginger today. The Thai traditionally use something called galanga, which is related to ginger. Unfortunately, it's a little out of season right now. But it's a worthy substitute. The galanga has a little bit more of a bite to it and a little bit of a fuller, more citrusy kind of flavor.
What else have you got here?
Mushrooms. The Thai use a wide variety of mushrooms. Today we're going to use some mushrooms that are native to Japan, called enokis. They're very pretty.
And you can buy them
we'll be putting them in the soup. Yeah, they're available at the store.
Okay, and these are an interesting kind of noodle that will be featured in our stir-fried rice noodles. Tell us about these.
The rice sticks. These are imported to us from Thailand. They're made simply with rice flour and water, and they roll it out into a very thin sheet and slice it and dry it, very much like traditional pasta. And then instead of cooking it, you soak it, and we'll be using that for our pad thai today.
Okay, so our menu today is kind of ambitious. We should get rolling. We have the Thai chicken coconut soup.
Tom kha gai.
And for dessert, we're going to make our dessert second, so it will be ready, and that will be bananas stewed in coconut milk.
Right, that's a guai bat chi.
Then there'll be Thai stir-fried rice noodles, probably one of the more famous.
That was our rice noodles, and yeah, probably the most popular, and it's called pad thai.
That's one that many have heard of, and we have it on the hot table sometimes.
Sometimes a slightly different version of it, one that works well for our purposes there.
And we'll end by looking at the #1 salad in the whole New Pioneer Deli, which is the spicy peanut noodle salad. And that's really pretty easy to make once you have all the ingredients. So we'll give that a look before we go on.
It is. It's not a very traditional Thai dish, but it's based on a lot of the Thai flavors, and it's our most popular salad.
So our first one today will be the chicken coconut soup.
And so let's get started. This is a very simple recipe. It's just a matter of throwing everything together in a pan and letting it simmer. We're going to start with handling the lemongrass, and you want to lose the very brown leaves, the ones that are drastically brown. Simply pull them off. Then what we're going to do is something called bruising, and this helps get the flavors going. You use the dull edge of the knife. We simply strike the lemongrass every couple of inches, roll it over, do it again. We're going to cut them into pieces just so that they'll fit in the pan, basically. We're going to toss it in to a 3-quart saucepan with our coconut milk. Looks like this in the stores.
So now what's in there? That's the coconut milk?
That's coconut milk. Yeah, it's
it has sort of solid particles in it.
It's made of the coconut meat. Now it's not the liquid that you find inside the coconut.
That's the coconut water.
That's the coconut water, correct.
Okay, so if you were to make this at home, why you were ambitious, you could take the coconut meat and blend it.
And blend it with just plain old water.
And then
squeeze it in cheesecloth.
And that would be coconut.
And that would be useful in case you sometimes you can't find it in the store or something like that. Here I have chicken stock. This is homemade. You can of course use your own, or use the canned stuff. course, homemade always tastes better. Let's see here. I'm going to put that on a medium-high heat to start with and get it simmering. We have chicken meat.
So is this
That's white and dark, simply cut into bite-sized pieces. I'm going to stir that in there. And we're going to go to the ginger. We're going to cut this into slices, medallions, and we're going to smash them kind of the same way we did the lemongrass. In order to get the flavor from the ginger flowing.
You're using quite a lot.
Yes, I am. They use an awful lot of ginger. It's one of the primary sources of heat: ginger, garlic, and chilies.
So this particular soup will not be so fiery hot.
This will not be fiery hot, no, but it will have a very rich, full flavor. It's got a citrusy bite from the lemongrass and from the lime, and not all Thai food, even though it has that reputation, not all Thai food is fiery hot. They like a lot of sweet food. They like the spicy foods for the same reasons that other regions of the world like the spicy food. You'll find all the spicy cuisines of the world centered pretty much 10 degrees north and south of the equator. And the reason for this is twofold. One, the spices that they use, originally they used to preserve the meat or to cover up the flavor of somewhat gamey meat that had been around for a little while. And also, the chilies make you sweat profusely in some cases, and that helps you cool off. And that's why in Thailand even the children eat spicy food. They have little candies made of tamarind that are rolled in glucose and chili powder.
I saw we have chocolate-covered chilies now.
Yes, we have those at the store now. I just had one yesterday, in fact. They're quite tasty. It sounds a little strange,
you
yeah.
have to both love chocolate, and it's actually like a chili, almost like a chili jelly in it.
Yeah, chocolate is
They're hot.
is not very common in Thailand or anywhere in the Orient, really. And they don't use a lot of dairy products either. Now this makes their choices for dessert a little bit strange by our standards. However, this is how you can take out your aggressions, by the way. That means that a lot of their desserts are going to be centered around what's native to their area, and that means fruit. And since they're in the tropics, we're talking bananas. The goibat tea that we're making for dessert today is virtually like vanilla ice cream to them. It's their basic dessert, what all the kids always want. Okay, so we're going to add our
So the reason we
crushed
pounded
slices
the
of
ginger
ginger
was to sort of open up the ginger.
It opens it up, it gets the flavors rolling. Okay, we have some peppercorns we're going to add, just a few. Now we're going to take a lime and a zester. And these are little gadgets you can find in just about any kitchen store to easily remove the zest from the lime. There's an awful lot of flavor concentrated in the oils in the skin of the lime. We're going to use about a tablespoon here. And that's approximately 2 limes worth of zest.
It will kind of complement the lemongrass flavors.
Yes, it will. They work together nicely. They're fairly similar in flavor. Lemongrass is so popular there, not just because of its flavor, but because it's prolific. It's very easy to grow, and it's everywhere. You can grow it at home if you like. It's very, very hard to kill.
So you could have a lemongrass
Give
house
us a
plant?
stir here. Sure you could. Plenty of sunshine and lots of water.
Some of the ones we see come in at the store actually have enough roots on them that a person
You
could
could probably transplant them and get your own crop going. Yep, sure could. Okay, our mushrooms. The enokis come in bunches like this, and this is just how they grow. And we're going to cut off the bottom end, and as you can see, they're made up of thousands of little stems. Interesting thing about mushrooms, the part that we usually eat is by far the smallest part of the mushroom. They're the reproductive organ of the mushroom. The mushroom itself is a fine net, basically, that can spread out sometimes for acres and acres under the forest floor, and these things simply pop up to help it reproduce.
Sort of the fruiting bodies.
Right.
Yeah, we're crazy about mushrooms. So
we're just going to cut these in half and give them a quick rinse. And break them right up into the soup.
So are there other mushrooms that could stand in for the
Sure. One of their favorites is a straw mushroom. Shiitakes, virtually any mushroom with a rich enough flavor. You want the flavor of the mushroom to come through.
Work?
It would work, but they are traditionally not as flavorful as the wilder ones. My own personal one's favorites, portobellos and chanterelles, would be wonderful in this, although not exactly what you'd call authentic. They're not native to the area. Okay, then I'm going to take one of these limes that I zested, roll it under the palm of my hand. It makes it much simpler to get the lime juice out. Then I'm going to cut it in half. Squeeze through my hands in order to catch any seeds right into the soup. Okay. All that's left to add is the fish sauce.
Tell us about this fish sauce.
This fish sauce, most people's first impressions of it are that it smells nasty.
That's how people feel about anchovies.
And it does. Well, these are, that's what it is. It's anchovy extract, salt, and water, and that's all it is. This is what it looks like. Almost always imported. There are a couple of domestic manufacturers of it. It's quite akin really to, say, an Oriental Worcestershire. It's anchovy based, just like Worcestershire is. We're going to add just a couple of tablespoons. They come with these little squirt spouts, which is pretty handy. Simply squirt it all in there. Now all we're going to do is wait for this thing to come to a simmer for a few minutes and see that the chicken is cooked all the way through. And then our soup is done. Now while that's simmering, we're going to get the bananas going, which are every bit as simple as, in fact, simpler than the soup. They simply stew in the coconut milk. Once you've got them up to a simmer, it's basically done. You shut it off, let it cool down a little bit. It's usually served at room temperature. So, again, we're using the coconut milk as a base for it. Like to use slightly underripe bananas because they hold up better. If you use ripe or overripe ones, they'll disintegrate, and you'll have a very nice flavored, sweet soup, pretty much. So I have here some bananas that I already cut up, and this is what they look like before I cut them up. You'll notice that the green in there, they're still slightly underripe.
So they're just peeled and...
Right.
Do you have anything on them?
These, since they were pre-cut, had a little bit of lemon juice on them to keep them from browning. All right, and our sugar. Just to give you a pretty good idea of how good this is going to taste, it's got a cup of sugar in it.
So the Thai like it sweet.
You sure do. We reserve a little bit for our pad thai. And we're simply going to stir this together gently so as not to break up the bananas. And we're going to turn it on. When it comes to a simmer, it'll be done. And it's time for us to work on the pad thai. Now the Chinese wok is a prevalent cooking tool used all over the Orient. And it is an immensely convenient tool. You can use it for virtually any kind of cooking. You can boil things in it, you can fry things in it, and of course what people are used to, you can stir fry things in it. Today we're going to make a pad thai, a very common stir-fried dish. You'll find this in any Thai restaurant. First thing we want to do with it is get some rice noodles soaking in tepid water. This is what they look like when they're dry. I have some that I've already soaked, and as you can see, they soften up a great deal.
So we're not going to actually boil them at all?
Not going to actually cook them at all, no.
It's kind of translucent when they start.
Yeah, they get kind of pearly white and flexible. And when we cook them in the pan, they're going to curl up when they hit the hot oil. So we're going to drain these so that they're ready to go. We want to get our oil in there and get it hot. At first, we're going to get the wok screaming hot, full blast. We're going to add half the oil that the recipe calls for. We want to swirl it around so the whole pan gets covered. One of the great things about these things, you don't have to use very much oil. We need our garlic. When the oil is smoking hot, we're going to brown the garlic. One of the ways to test it is you can grab just a little bit of your minced garlic, throw it in there, and if it sizzles up right away, then you know the oil's ready. And ours is. We're going to brown the garlic completely. As I said, we want the garlic to be nice and brown.
Good even heat there.
Yep. When you buy a wok, spend the money on a good one.
What makes it
preferably one that's hand pounded from one piece. Don't buy those electric things with their own little heating unit underneath them. The main reason for that is they're all flat bottomed, and you don't want a flat bottom on a wok. You want it curved. It's part of the nature of the beast.
It's just sort of a thin steel one you have.
Mm-hmm.
With a thin, very responsive to the heat.
Yep, this one's hand pounded. It was made in China.
You're letting your garlic get quite brown.
Yes, you are. Now we're going to take the garlic out and set it aside. Scrape as much as you can out of there. We're going to be putting the egg in there next.
Our bananas are getting ready to simmer.
Good, the bananas are coming to a simmer. I believe the soup is done. We're going to turn it way down. We're going to get the egg. This is simply one egg beaten. Or not yet beaten. Here we go. And in a nice hot wok, where the oil is nice and hot, this egg won't stick.
What kind of oil did you use?
This is canola oil. They use
good healthful choice.
Good healthful choices like that almost uniformly. A good vegetable oil like that, or peanut oil. They use a lot of peanut oil. Okay. We're going to put the egg in there and roll it around so that it forms a thin sheet all the way over it. If you've ever made a crepe, it's somewhat similar to that. See how it spreads out all over. And then we're going to push it back down break it up. We want to cook it to dry. Some people like their scrambled eggs a little bit runny, but we're not going to do that in this case. Break it up, and then we're going to remove it from the pan. Add the remainder of your oil. And let that get hot. And we're going to put some shrimp in there. I've got some shrimp that's already peeled and deveined, and it's also split in half lengthwise.
So each shrimp has been cut into 2 pieces.
Right. That helps you share the shrimp, and it also helps with its appearance because as it cooks, when it's cut in half like this, it's going to twist up into a little spiral. It looks really nice. Okay. Some peanuts.
Smells good.
And when they are, as you can see, they're turning a bit pink. And see how that one's curled up there?
Cute.
Isn't that nice? I'll cook them through a little bit further. It'll be time to add the noodles. And then we mix it all together. Now, of course, variations on this are perfectly welcome. Whatever you feel like throwing in is pretty good within common sense. You might have chicken instead. You might have no meat whatsoever if you like. You could use tofu, and any sort of vegetables that sound good to you are fine. You know, obviously these are within reasons. You don't want to go chopping up Oreos or putting weird things in there. Use your common sense. The flavors that seem to go nicely together. Okay, so now we're going to put the noodles in. We want to get as much of the water out of them as we can, because as you know, water and oil don't like each other very much. Toss them in there. We're going to pull them up the sides so that they're spread out. Our bananas are done in the meantime. Yep, and just let them stand there. Push them back together and then spread them out again.
Is there any fish sauce in the pad thai?
We're going to put it in last thing. Yep, and a lot of the flavor of the whole dish comes from that and the garlic.
So it's really a seafood-based dish. Because you have the
yeah, you need the fish sauce really for flavor. I'd say most vegetarians are probably willing to make that slight exception.
Let a few anchovies in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of prejudice against anchovies. But when the fish sauce works with all the rest of the ingredients, it kind of adds those lower notes that make it really good.
It's quite an amazing flavor. I personally believe that the anchovy has gotten a bad rap. It's a really wonderful food, and I think the reason that people don't like anchovies is because sometime somebody got a hold of a bad batch, and I don't know, word spread, because I think they're wonderful flavored. They're very salty, mind you, but the caviar is considered a delicacy, and it's very salty. Okay, we're going to crush it down toward the center here. I want to use the spatula and flip it over. And spread it back out again. Notice how they're starting to curl up and gather around each other, kinda? Not really sticking together so much as tangling together. And notice the brownness.
And this is what you want.
This is what you want. Not a whole lot of that, mind you. You wanted to get it just a tinge brown. We add the remainder of our ingredients. Stir them in. A squirt of the Thai magic sauce. And there you have it. You smell it?
Smells good.
That's
garlicky
anchovies.
and good.
Yeah, lots of garlic. Real tasty. Now the Thais traditionally eat an awful lot of their food with their hands. I guess we won't be doing that today.
No, we'll put this on a plate.
But supper's ready. Let's eat.
Okay, we'll be back and show you how good this can look on some plates laid out. Well, we have a wonderful spicy Thai dinner here. We have the pad Thai, the stir-fried noodles. For dessert, the bananas stewed in coconut milk. Here we have the chicken coconut soup. And here, of course, always from the deli, the spicy peanut noodle salad. There's some great Thai beers, so we're going to have those with it. What have you got, Kurt?
Gloi Bat Chi. Okay. Tom Kha Gai. Pad Thai.
Pad Thai.
So you know how to order it in the restaurant.
I'll remember that, Kurt.
A little bit of scallion to finish it off. And let's eat.
Great. Well, it's been fun exploring the spicy world of Thai cooking with you, Kurt.
It's been fun doing it.
Kurt Michael Fries of New Pioneer Co-op. I'm Theresa Carbrey, New Pioneer Co-op. Thank you very much for joining us. And New Pioneer presents the spicy world of Thai cooking.